book off my bookshelf is County Folklore, Leicestershire and Rutland, collected and edited by Charles James Bilson, issued by the Folklore Society. Now this is a book of extracts and it's printed, and it's number 3, and it's printed in 1895, but it refers to a lot of texts that are a lot earlier, which I will endeavour to find those books somewhere. But for now, get yourself a cuppa, sit back and enjoy today's episode. Welcome back to another episode. This one is Magic and Divination. The key in the Bible. Take the house door key and place the ward in the Bible cover. The Song of Solomon. Close the book, leaving the ring of the key out at the top. Tie of the garter of the right leg tightly around the Bible, then place the third finger of each hand under the ring of the key and hold the Bible suspended while repeating these words. Many waters cannot quench love, neither can the floods drown it. If a man would give all the substance of his house for love, it would utterly be contempted. If the Bible turned around, the one who holds it will marry. If it continues stationary, she will remain single. After this formula has been gone through, if the Bible and key were placed under the pillow and the sleeper would dream of his or her future partner. After placing the key in the Bible, if you wish to ascertain the initial letter of the future husband's name, repeat, if my true love's name begins with A, turn Bible, turn key, and so on through all the letters of the alphabet until the Bible and key turn. That was from a native of Woodhouse. Dreams. Before retiring to rest, place the shoes in the form of a T, the toe of one touching the instep of the other, and if you repeat these words, you will dream of your true love. I set my shoes in the form of a T, hoping to dream who my true love is to be, the shape of his body, the colour of his hair, the Sunday clothes that he does wear. Another version. I set my shoes in the form of a T, hoping this might my true love to see, not in costly apparel or lordly array, but in the clothes he wears every day. Another version. T, 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 as I set thee, hoping my true love to me. Whether I sleep or whether I wake, I hope my true love to see. Cut the fingernails and place them under the pillow. Will dream of future husband. A dream of a wedding is a sign of death. To dream of death, a sign of a wedding. Dragon's blood. Buy a pennyworth of dragon's blood from a chemist. Sprinkle the powder in the fire any night when its clock is striking 12, and your future husband or wife will appear. When Mrs. was a girl, she tried this charm one night while the clock was striking 12, and upon turning from the fire she saw the figure of a man resembling the one who afterwards became her husband, become embodied out of the air, then gradually fade away. She was terrified, and she never attempted the charm again. Mrs. is firmly convinced that she saw this apparition. Dragon's blood and quicksilver. If a young girl has lost the affection of her lover, she can regain it by throwing dragon's blood and quicksilver into the fire at the clock strikes 12 at midnight, and at the same time wishing for his return to her. Love charms. There is still a stout belief in the power of a person who makes use of a love charm to draw the person to her side. A lady aged 70 told me that she was a young man whose affection she did not reciprocate came to her father's house one evening and asked if she had been trying a charm. She indignantly reputed the idea, but she would not accept her word. You must have done so, he insisted, for not all the powers of hell could have kept me from you tonight. The cross. If a fire does not burn well and you want to draw it up, you should set the poker across the hearth with the forepart leaning across the top bar of the grate, and you will have a good fire if you wait long enough. But you must not be unreasonable and refuse to give time for the charm to work. For a charm it is a poker and top bar combined forming a cross, and so defeating the malice of the gnomes, who are jealous of our possessions of their subterranean treasures. or else of the witches and demons who preside over smoky chimneys. Midsummer Eve Charms. At midnight, if a young girl went into the garden and plucked a sage leaf each time the clock struck until the 12th note had sounded, the apparition of the future husband would appear. If the girl is not destined to be married, a coffin will appear. My informant said that she was in a series of the county. The cook and housemaid, her fellow servants, tried this charm. The housemaid saw a coffin and has not been married. The cook saw her lover. The same lover came to see his betrothed as early as 5 o'clock the next morning, declaring that he had not been able to rest during the night and that he was compelled to seek his affection as soon as it was light. Midsummer Eve. If a young girl wished to see her future husband, she would lay the table for 12 guests on Midsummer Eve and invite 10 of her friends, each of whom would take a place at the table. The girl who desired to see her future husband occupying the seat next to the vacant chair, they would sit in silence with their eyes fixed upon their plates. If one of them spoke, the spell was broken. The door of the house was wide open. When the clock struck 12, an apparition appeared of future husband, who took possession of the place reserved for him at the board by the side of his prospective wife. Sometimes, instead of the husband, a funeral procession passed through the room, and the corpse would take her seat next to the girl who would die before the end of the year. One old lady told me that she tried this charm when she was a young girl. She said others sat silent for hours. When the clock struck 12, they heard footsteps approaching, whereupon they became so terrified that they all sprang up and rushed to their respective rooms. Wedding rings. A large mince pie in which a wedding ring and a button have been placed, the upper crust marks in squares with a knife before cooking. Then served at table. Whoever has the piece containing the wedding ring will be married first of the company. The one to whom the button falls will be an old maid, if a gentleman, a bachelor. Thank you very much. That concludes today's episode. Please like, share and subscribe, and I shall see you again next time.